As the Biden administration continues its push for a dramatic shift to electric vehicles over the next decade, nearly 4,000 car dealerships have signed on to a letter begging the president to slow down the transition.
Yeah, more than 200 of those dealerships are right here in Michigan, putting the U.S. fourth in the nation behind only Florida, California, and Texas in the number of supporting dealerships.
Joining us today to talk about the impact of this transition on dealerships is Bill Galling, president of the Galling Auto Group, which has several dealerships who have signed on to this letter. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation.
Appreciate it.
Glad to have you here with us. So there's obviously a lot of concern for a lot of people, and these dealerships are saying, hey, we can't get these things out fast enough. What do you think are some of the reasons that we are seeing a bit of a slowdown in getting them off the lots?
Well, obviously the first thing is customer affordability. So, I mean, the customers are telling us that it's just too much money as far as just the payments and such. But on top of it, it's range anxiety, being able to charge it, the network itself, how far can you go? I mean, that's all those types of factors that come into it.
Where do you think the biggest gaps are between where we are and when this transition, this full transition to EV vehicles would be possible?
Well, I can't tell you when, but what we're asking the president is just put the brakes on a little bit. We think it's the right direction overall. It's just not so fast. Right now, Michigan's at 3% battery electric. California's at 21. Part of the difference is certainly California's been leading the way, but the weather in California is a little bit more moderate year-round than it is in Michigan. So when the temperature outside's at 10, the range isn't quite what it would be at 70.
Yeah.
And so do you have access to chargers? I mean, do you have a charger in your garage? 50% of the people don't have a garage. So you've got all of these factors that are going into it. Another thing, the Biden administration has put $7.5 billion aside to build 500,000 chargers in 2021. None of them are operational yet. Getting close, but none of them are operational yet. That's $15,000 a charger. I'm putting into our dealership, I have to bring a new service, but next spring, a level 3 charger, which is a 180 kilowatt charger. That charger costs $62,000 just for the charging.
Very fast charging,
That's
right?
a fast charger.
Okay.
A gas, when you fill up your gas, 7 minutes. On that charger would be maybe 30 to 40 minutes if you had a fully depleted battery to get it to 80%. That's a fast charger.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle change.
It is a lifestyle change that you have to be. And again, for certain people, it's wonderful, and we'll sell you one. I mean, we want to sell you whatever. I mean, our job is to sell cars, right? To meet the customer's budget and their needs. Yeah. But there's also just the reality, it's just too much too fast.
Yeah, I recently saw a video that's resurfaced online of a fast food chain in the early 90s when they were introducing the use of credit cards. At that time, most people had cash. And in the interview, a lot of people are saying, well, this isn't going to last. Like, how are you going to use a credit card to pay for know, things like that? Do you think some of this is just consumers having a hard time transitioning to the idea of losing the gas tank?
Hard.
It's everything we've known, right?
Yeah, well, we know what to expect with our gas cars. And I think we pretty well know what we could do with a full battery electric in town. The issue is going to be what's going to happen when you travel. And do you have a need to pull a boat or something like that? Because, you know, anytime the temperature changes and you're changing the weight of what you're pulling is going to change your range. And then the network has to, and others have to be more chargers out there and more chargers available. And that will come with time. So we just need right now, again, the main thing that customers are telling us is affordability. The average hybrid is $38,000. The average plug-in hybrid is $57,000. The average battery electric is $54,000, and that's down from $60,000 a year ago. That's how much they've discounted it. And throughout the country, we've gone from 6% market share to 8%. And we got to go to 50 by 2030 and 70 by 2032. And that's where the proposals from the administration is 70% by 2032. I just think I mean, our customers are telling us too much too fast. Slow it down a little bit. Let's try and make sure, like for instance, hybrids and plug-in hybrids don't count, even though they reduce the amount of hydrocarbons out there.
It's no gasoline by that time.
Well,
right.
They got some, but they still have a gas engine.
The goal of the transition.
Exactly right.
All right.
So, you know, we have batteries that have 5 rare earth materials. 75% of that's controlled by China. OPEC only controls 40% of the oil.
Well, 2030 coming up pretty fast.
Pretty fast.
This is Bill Galling. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate
Very much appreciated.